So this is super exciting for all the people that are looking also for career changes or just to develop their skills and open their mindset and find connection. And this is also Sharena Fabrika in Bulgaria is a great place to do this. This is where you will have the permaculture design course in September. And what's your relation to Bulgaria and how did you find your way to Sharena Fabrika?
So there was a permaculture convergence in Bulgaria, I think 2016, 2014, something like that. And I came. We were presenting our children in permaculture project there, and I met someone there who I just immediately resonated with, and they then invited me to their eco village, and we organized various workshops, various sociocracy courses, collaborative working, as well as a full permaculture course. And I helped them, and we designed, and we did several courses, and we designed a forest garden for them. And I remember clearly saying, maybe this was 14, 15 years ago, saying in 10 years time, the hardest decision you're going to have to make is, what do I do with all this food? And about 3-4 years ago, honestly, I heard her say those exact same words on a conference, and a forest garden conference, international forest garden conference, where she said, I don't know enough people to give this amount of food away to. I just don't know enough people. So, these systems, once they start working, are so productive. And so one of the first courses, Danny came along, and he was really, really super inspired, really beautiful character, beautiful human being. He really got inspired, and off he went and started doing things, and he now works there. And so when he had this opportunity to organize a course, the first person he called, he said, Rakesh, come, let's do this together. And
great.
so
Yes, and Sharena Fabrika will open as a culinary school in collaboration with Ferrandi Paris. So it brings together the French cuisine with the Balkan cooking, and they want to also define Balkan cuisine for the world, which is really exciting. But now you're also saying like the food that you're currently growing there with Daniel, this will also define the food.
for sure. The one challenge that I do have with this concept is I am, for environmental and ethical reasons, plant-based vegan. And I know a lot of Balkan foods and a lot of French foods is meat, and that's not something that I will teach, or not something that I will present, and I need to be very clear on that. If you want to learn how to grow chickens and I'm not your person. If you want to learn how to grow animals so you can kill them and eat them, I'm 100% not your person. I want to live in a world where we can love and respect and care for all animals and insects and plants, as well as humans. And so I'm not evangelical about being vegan. I'm not going to persuade anyone to change their choice. But what I'm teaching, what I share, is how to live in a world where
plant-based,
where you can grow food in a way that actually takes care of animals rather than exploiting them. So
this is great.
So animals in my system come of their free will and leave of their free will. I don't bring them in, I don't introduce them. And yes, so they should be free, as I say. If they come and they say, well, I can survive here, I can I can thrive here, I can raise a family here, and they decide to stay, fantastic. And if they decide, actually, no, this isn't the place for me, and they leave, no problem.
Yes, I think people from the modern world interested in the permaculture design course are really looking to develop their skills, reconnect, and maybe have some lifestyle changes, develop their skills, maybe also for their work or career changes. You know, there is now a trend also coming up in project development and real estate to promote permaculture design, but in a smaller scale. I think like yeah, having animals is a whole different ball game. So no one's
But just to be clear, with
looking for
permaculture, it's about being holistic. It's about being holistic. And so, you know, so many people come and say, oh, come have a look at my permaculture raised bed. Well, how is that permaculture? It's just a raised bed. It's, you know, it's not even connected to the soil. You know, so where are your nutrient cycles? Where is the natural cycles of how it interacts with your surroundings?
I love that input, because there's a lot of permaculture information with high beds for growing to disconnect the animals from eating the strawberries, for example. Yeah. Interesting that you say like this is not the way to do it.
And that is not permaculture for me. Well, first of all, permaculture is not a series of techniques. Permaculture is the design process that leads you to understand what technique you need to employ to actually bring about real change. And how do we do it in a way that supports the most life, the most, you know, whether it's human life, whether it's animals, insects, and you know, how we create systems that clean the air, clean the water, as opposed to destroy, deprive, deplete, exploit. And so permaculture is the design methodology that leads you to say, that's the technique that I need to employ here. The permaculture is not the raised bed technique. Permaculture is not the hugel culture. Permaculture is not the herb spiral. Permaculture is not swales. Permaculture is not those techniques. Permaculture is the design process, the design mentality that helps you to see, this is where I need a swale, because, or a bund, as we should also call it. It's the decolonialized name. So this bund needs to be there because I want to collect I've got all this, you know, this watershed, and all the waters with all the nutrients coming out of the forest is going to come here, and I want to collect it here, and I want to slow it down at this point so that it can now soak into the ground to then feed the rest of my system. And then the runoff will go over here, and then I can collect it there, then I can use it here, and then so it's the design process to understand how to connect all the ecosystems for the benefit of the whole.
It's not what you read in your regular gardening magazine. More beautiful garden and grow some tomatoes. This is what I realize right now.
And it's not, well, okay, everyone teaches permaculture differently, and because of my kind of my view of how to really make this world a really joyful, beautiful place for all, helping people to understand the patterns that they have they have learned over the years because of schooling, because of media, because of culture, to see which of those patterns really creates richness and abundance, and which really disconnects and what have you. So to start seeing those patterns and start to undo them. So to start consciously changing those patterns so that you can really see the world in a more beautiful way. And actually then, I don't teach techniques. I teach people how to see, how to think, how to understand systems, how to then design systems, and then from that we then realize, this is the technique that can solve that problem. But having known why you are putting that technique into action, you know how to actually implement that technique, because you can see, well, if I do it the standard way, that's not going to work because I'm in this situation. because my land is different to where most people are doing this, and therefore I need to do this. But they can work that out because I've not taught them a technique. Teaching someone a really great technique in completely the wrong place is as useless as teaching them, you're teaching them how to do something wrong. And and you see this, and this is the problem with when you study permaculture through YouTube, is you see someone doing a particular technique. I can do that in my garden, and but it works there. It works in Hawaii, it works in Australia, it works in India, but that may not be where you are, and maybe it works on this side of the slope, but it won't work on that side of the slope because it has a different ecosystem. And so teaching a good technique is, for me, useless, because unless you teach people how to understand why the technique works, so first understand what is it you're trying to achieve, then find a technique that matches that, and then from there to see, right, but what aspects of that will work here and what will not. I teach people to think and work it out. In fact, I could even go so far as saying that I don't actually teach anyone anything. I get people to work things out for themselves.
Yes, and there's the magic. I feel like this is a magical process when there's completely new patterns, something activated that is truly connected to nature. And yes, so because like you said, it's so important that we introduce you. Like you said, everyone teaches permaculture differently. There's also the aspects of people that are looking at things like, okay, this needs to be beautiful in a specific order. But now it's fantastic that you say you teach people to see the beauty. Like this is really
beauty in chaos. See the beauty in randomness, because that nature doesn't want nice straight lines of this, that, and the other. Nature doesn't, it creates so many problems.
There's the disruption, I think, when the permaculture, together with the beautifying process, to promote it or to teach it as this also needs to look beautiful. It's not appreciating how nature actually acts. So I'm super excited I will be joining this course and will be learning from you. I'm really excited for this magic, to feel this magic afterwards, to see things your way, like that you just inherently have, which is great. And I think like it's beautiful what you said about your father, that he was of service to so many people, even though here we're coming from very little, is just fantastic, like this.
Yeah, I mean, he himself was a refugee because he was born, and for 7,000 years, our ancestry, and I can even name 3,000 years worth of our ancestry who were from a particular region, who, because of the British actions in India, split the Indian Bharat, as we should call it, and so our ancestral land is now no longer in India. So he was a refugee. He was forced to run and flee because of politics. And so at the age of 10, he arrived in what is now India. And this was not his land, though. This was not his country. So he understood. So when he saw the Tibetan refugees starting to come over, he had that compassion for them, because he knew what he had gone through as a 10-year-old. And so he had that compassion and that compulsion to go and help. And then, as say, with the earthquake in Skopje, again, he had that compassion to go and help. So this is the mentality, and really so much love and respect to both my parents for being who they are, because they've really helped me to be who I am today. And with that love and that compassion that they have for all animals, insects, people, etc., it's thanks to them. My mum, people ask me when I first started learning permaculture, I say it's when I was 4 years old, my mum gave me that first cucumber plant to plant, and that from that seed, and oh my God, look, it's like, oh wow, and now it's no, and whoa, there's a cucumber. How is that possible? And then that and I'm almost 60 years old, and I'm still like that. I'm still that, wow, look, oh my God, have a look at her. I'm still like that little 4-year-old, super excited to learn about how the world works.